people see psychics as just kind of a odd thing sometimes.
Well, the funny thing about it is with me being more in parapsychology, um, a lot of a lot of the subjects that are the ways that I describe something would be very similar to what to what someone who's a medium or a sensitive or someone who is very spiritual would describe it. The only thing that's different really is our terminology, but we're still talking about the same thing. But this goes back to that front of the house, back of the house analogy we were talking about earlier. Um, whereas I might say place memory, um, someone who is a medium might, or even a regular investigator might refer to it as residual energy. But we're still talking about the same thing. We're still talking about energy that's left over from a living person that replays itself.
And then you have
Um,
those that call it the stone tape theory.
mhm.
So,
That's and so many people fail to realize that. And like you were just saying, when you put a team together, it's all skeptics. Who's there to say, okay, that's fine, but how do you explain this?
exactly. The openness has to be there, or
Hmm.
if somebody tells you that they can explain everything that happens in any type of anomalous situation,
Hmm.
then you don't even want to talk to them anymore
Oh
because
yeah,
they're not
I
being
tell people
honest.
all the time. Yeah, I tell people all the time. If you ever hear anybody refer to themselves as a paranormal expert, run and don't listen to another word that person says, because let me tell
Yes.
you, last month made 19 years that I've been doing this, and I'm as far from an expert as they get. I have a few good guesses. I get lucky every once in a while, but as far as being any kind of an expert, no. I'm just somebody that's had nearly 20 years of thinking about it and coming up with a few theories, but that is it. I still got so much. There's a lot more that I don't know than what I do know. We'll say that. And you know, everything that I say, I might be completely wrong. But you know, something that I see so often is people with such an inflated ego that if you challenge anything, they say they're offended, upset. That's just something you do not do. And they limit themselves. They put themselves into such a small box by doing that.
Absolutely, they
Uh,
do.
but every theory that I've got might be proven wrong tomorrow, and that's okay. You know, if what's proven, if what I say is proven wrong, then hey, it's a learning opportunity to figure out what I had wrong and kind of move toward the right direction.
And being open to doing that is so huge because, I am so interested in doing other things besides just spiritual paranormal.
Hmm. Hmm.
I'm really working hard on ufology knowledge because that
Hmm.
fascinates me. These ancient alien theories that I've been exposed to over the last year or so are blowing me out of the water. I I got to hear Eric Von Daniken about 4 times this summer, and
Hmm.
that is something that will open your mind because he's the original Indiana Jones, truly.
Hmm.
And to hear him explain some of the things that he saw, such as how many Nazca lines there really are, and they were all over the sides of the mountains, things of that nature that there's no one else to talk about that was probably my favorite thing. And
Hmm.
there's a whole different way of thinking to what NASA and science and scientists, which are, I'm sorry, anything back beyond maybe a couple of centuries, it's only theory.
Hmm.
There is not documentation available unless you move into things that the average bear can't translate
Hmm.
to try to show that this stuff's not real, right? Because when the Dead Sea Scrolls came to light, the world changed, and nobody even really knows that. But history changed dramatically. Things that were known to be real, air quotes,
Hmm.
were
Hmm.
completely blown away by the information in those scrolls. They did not validate a lot of things, and they brought a lot of other things into the light that nobody expected. So,
Absolutely. And I think we talked about the Mandela effect um,
oh, that's so bizarre.
last time, and but the the thing of it is, do you realize how far out of date even our textbooks are nowadays?
Oh, please.
That
Absolutely.
there's there is so much um, so much information in our textbooks these days that is completely wrong. And the problem is, very much what's happening today is the same thing that happened several hundred years ago when when Galileo pointed his telescope at the sky and said, maybe we're not the center of the universe, and oh, and by the way, the whole Earth being a flat thing, that's not right either.
Yeah, that didn't
That
work out for him well at first.
Yeah, that here it was. He made a discovery that we accept as the norm today. Well, most of us. There's still a few out there that don't venture too far so they don't fall off, but you know, most of the population today could agree that Earth is round, and um, you know the thing of it is, what he put out there was against the scientific law of the day. And for him calling into question what was being accepted as scientific fact, he faced the Inquisition, literally.
Yes, totally.
And nowadays, if a scientist with most universities, if a scientist were to come out and say, the paranormal is real. I figured it out. Ghosts are real, and this is the type of energy form that they're made of, and this is how they communicate. It wouldn't matter how compelling his evidence was. He would be mocked. He would lose his tenure, and if he were able to miraculously retain his job at the university, he would be stuck somewhere as a file clerk in the basement.
Well, definitely tenure would be gone.
Hmm.
But I don't see any way that a professional scholar would be able to survive that professionally.
Right. That's and the thing about it is, how much information are we getting that is outdated, that is wrong, that a lot of people know is wrong, but we're just not receiving it because people are afraid. The people who make the discoveries are scared to say anything.
Well, and not only
They know.
that, if you if somebody has to come forward and say, our bad, we couldn't afford to print new textbooks, so we just didn't change this information because we didn't think the changes would actually be relevant, and plus, we kind of don't want you changing your mindset.
Hmm.
Then how's that going to work for them as well? There's a lot at stake when you come to the educational materials because it's a great it's a great manipulative tool to
Hmm.
have a certain perspective or other in there. It's just really an interesting concept. But you know what? We are 30 seconds away from our second break. I cannot believe how fast the time goes when we talk. This is just crazy.
I know it is. Yep, this is too fast.
It is too fast. And I did want to say before we go to break that for all of those people who are suffering as a result of Hurricane Michael, just know that y'all are still in our prayers and in our thoughts. All the positives are flowing to you as well as the dollars. And we are doing our best. We are doing our level best to help you. So just know that y'all aren't forgotten. I know it's a couple of weeks out, and I know the media has died down, and when that happens, volunteers tend to go home too. We're in here for y'all for the long haul. So that being said, Frank, let's take about 2 minutes and we'll be right back, okay?
Sounds great.
All right.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
And just like that, we're back. Hi there. This is C.A.S.P.I.R Radio. And thank you so much for being here with my guest, Frank Lee. And Frank, I want to continue that conversation we were in the middle of with the textbooks and the educational system really failing our students because the information they are gleaning is inaccurate.
Absolutely. And you know, the thing that is popular ideas that are theories, they aren't you know, they aren't put out there, hey, this is a theory. They get put out there as fact.
Right?
You know,
I hate that.
and just to clarify on that, you know, the theory of relativity, the gravitational waves, it's only been 3 years since we actually confirmed that theory of relativity was correct. But how many years was it taught?
Forever. What? Let's see. This is
So,
2018. At least 75. Am I right?
mhm.
Roughly.
So you know, and I'm going to say something, you know, something else that I see a lot, and this is you know, we made mention of the Inquisition. Problem is, the Inquisition is still alive and well. It's just
Yes.
no longer it's not ran by the church. It's ran by the public court of opinion. Um, you know, one of the biggest things I see happening now that is a terrible, terrible path for us to go down is um, politics is taking place, the place that religion used to hold over science, over what's acceptable as fact and what isn't. You know, you see so much like with climate change, with um, vaccinations, and all this. It's not a okay. Let's look at the facts. It's okay, well, if you agree with this statement, you must belong to this party, or you don't